Saturday Social, brought to you by EA Sports FC with PlayStation 5.
Right, Joe, you can see that our props department have worked very hard to de-rig what was already on the Saturday Social board
those magnets
and put new magnets on. It's the start of the new year. As we have James Allcott on the show, we thought it'd be a good time for him to be picking his best player from every age category, from 18 to 32, because it's the kind of content we see on his channel. I wanted to tap into your insight, mate, and gain some of that. So hit us with the rules. A little bit of rules for this one.
Well, they've got to be the age on the board. What? Not the craziest. 18 up to 32.
Good. Thank you for bugging me off. I appreciate it.
Let's start with 18 then. Who are you going for? Is it a best 18-year-old in world football?
Mattis Tell.
Okay.
He is a goal or assist every 63 minutes.
Crazy, isn't it?
Knowledge. Statman Dave's in the building.
Yeah, Statman James. He is very, very exciting. The only question mark I have around him is the fact that, obviously playing for Bayern Munich, you'll get a lot of chances, and he's often coming off the bench. But he is getting minutes for Bayern Munich. You know, you've got Harry Kane coming off, and he's scoring goals. He's super, super exciting. Great finisher. Can play on that left-hand side as well, sort of, and run the channels as well. Super, super exciting. You know, getting minutes up top for Bayern Munich.
Rare as an 18-year-old.
So rare, so rare.
OK, stick with me. So just to confirm, this is James's list, so we're going to build it out, and then we're going to get Flav's opinion as well.
On some alternates and critiquing it as we go.
Right, we're going to move on to the 19-year-old. So best 19-year-old currently in world football. Let's have a reveal to the camera. Who you gone with?
I've gone with Gavi.
OK.
He's a bit of me, Gavi. I like Gavi. I like... he's so tenacious. He's got a little bit of everything in terms of being able to sort of see a pass, play those passes and assists, and able to wriggle out of trouble with the dribbling as well. Small guy, but also loves to sort of crunch through someone, which I really, really like. I think there was the game in El Clasico. I went to El Clasico, and he kept Bellingham really quiet until he just scored a ridiculous goal.
Until Bellingham does what Bellingham does.
Yeah, exactly. I just think he's wonderful. I think injured to the end of the season now, which is a real shame. But yeah, great tenacity for a sort of Barcelona midfielder that you wouldn't expect when you maybe see the outline of him. I think he's a class.
You know, he's already had 111 appearances for Barca in all comps for a 19-year-old.
Yeah, well, some people say that's probably part of the problem behind the injury, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's played a lot of football for such a young...
Yeah, and he's got that, you know, sometimes different midfielders have sort of different sort of attitudes to playing, and he's a bit old school in that sense that he does like to get about and make tackles and affect the game. I think he's class.
Euro release clause, by the way.
Won the Copper Trophy as well, didn't he? Yeah. He's best under 21 player at the Ballon d'Or. So let's get him up for the 19-year-olds. 20, I think this is where it starts to get a bit spicy, because there are other 19-year-olds you're looking at with the likes of Evan Ferguson and things, whereas 20... You've got Jude Bellingham, you've got Jamal Musiala, you've got Florian Wirtz.
Pedri in there?
I think Pedri's 21, actually.
OK. Yeah, I mean...
Gotta be.
The correct answer is Jude Bellingham. You know, we just spoke about him over there. He's the main man for England. He's the main man for Real Madrid. I know it's all come pretty quickly, but I think he's top scorer in La Liga. He's, you know, I think he scored maybe in all of the Champions League games as well.
Yeah,
he's a joke.
Top scorer, La Liga's top scorer, 17 goals and 5 assists. His debut season for Real Madrid, ridiculous. And from the 2022 Copper Trophy winner to the 2023 Copper Trophy winner.
Yeah, and, you know, for his age, to be able to affect games when he wants. And you can see it. I think when you watch him, you can feel that. He can kind of go, and I've always said this, he's got a snarl about him that I really, really love. So he'll get a bit, he's in a rush to be great, and I love that.
He's unreal. He's
so
unbelievable.
Good.
There's generational talents, and there's future Ballon d'Or winners, and he's one of them. Birmingham City fans are still celebrating every goal he scores for Real Madrid. That's how much they love him.
They were right.
Do you think, when you say Ballon d'Or winner, what sort of time frame are we talking?
Can he win it this year?
How soon?
Of course he can win it this year. I mean, it'll be an incredible feat. But if Real Madrid go far in the Champions League, England do bits in the I don't know what Wednesday and that. Yeah, if England.
And it's often, in terms of how the voting process works, a lot of the time, obviously it's an individual award, but it's massively affected by the clubs and the countries they play for. That's why a lot of people are looking at two of the most informed players now, Kane and Bellingham. If England bring it home.
Also,
if England bring it home, Joe.
For him to come into Real Madrid with how established that midfield has been.
Yeah.
Normally in other spheres, if you talk about managers that have been there for ages and then the next guy comes in, they struggle. But he's come in and taken them up a notch. He's unbelievable.
I think everyone would agree with you there, James. Great choice. Shout out Musiala as well, by the way.
Stellar year.
Massive fan of Musiala. Let's move on to 21 years old. Now, just to give it context, quite a competitive age bracket. You've got the likes of Camavinga, Pedri, Gvardiol, Doku as well. So I imagine this was a tougher one to choose from.
Yeah, you're right. So I had Pedri and this man, Eduardo Camavinga, and I went with Camavinga This could age badly because I think Pedri's sort of ceiling and ability is wonderful, and his
Very
vision.
injured, though.
He is very injured though, and that is a problem. And Camavinga is generally always available, amazing on the left-hand side if he has to play left back. Could play as a 6, could play as an 8. He's awesome.
I love him.
He's so well-rounded.
Yeah.
And he reads the game brilliantly defensively as well. And then gets the ball and is able to dribble past 2 players to get something moving.
You just know he's going to be at Real Madrid for 10 years, and you know he's going to play consistently because they have these players that are just so reliable, and he's one of them. To drop into left back in major games, just feel like, all right, I'll do that, boss, no problem.
Yeah.
6 trophies for Real Madrid already at the age of 20.
And an important part of France as well, who, you know, we've talked about England winning the Euros. They probably go into the Euros as favourites, really, don't they?
Even 13 caps for France. I know that seems low, but 13 caps for
21-year-old.
For the French team, which arguably has got one of the best squads in world football at 21 years of age, even that's to be applauded.
And yeah, I like his consistency as much as anything. I think, again, Pedri is a wonderful, wonderful player, but he's just always there. And he's wonderful.
Cool.
All right,
22, Joe, is another
For me,
competitive
this is one of the most competitive of the whole list. You've got Saka, you've got Kvaradona, you've got Saliba, who may be the outstanding centre-back in European football. You've got Rodrigo as well. Who are you going for?
I'm sticking with Bukayo Saka. And I think this is being done at a moment when Arsenal aren't in the best form. He's not maybe in the best form, but you've got to remember how reliant they have been on this guy for so long. So to just forget that in a couple of weeks just feels incredibly harsh for me. I think he's the most irreplaceable player for Arsenal. I don't think we've got anyone anywhere near it on that right-hand side who can step in for him. He's played at left-back as well. He could play as an 8 if you wanted him to. He can stay wide and dribble with it. He can come short. He's awesome.
It pains me to say it. I think Saliba's almost as crucial as Saka is. And if not, there's no world where I would take either of them at Spurs. But if some mental thing happened and I had to take one, I think Saliba would be the one I'd take.
By the way, I'm a Spurs fan. I would definitely take both of them. Top player. In terms of ceiling, though, can I just ask? I agree, top player. I think it's a great shout. But Kvaratskhelia, do you think Kvaratskhelia and Saka, in terms of ceiling, who do you think's got the higher ceiling out of those two?
I think
top players.
Yes, I think.
And Rodrigo. Let's throw Rodrigo in there as well. You know.
I think the thing with him, I'd love to see the amount of games all those guys have played. He has played so many games of football. I think he played under Unai Emery for Arsenal, so a long time. So I think, again, when it comes to a full career, it's about consistency. Can he go up to that next level where he's, getting the golden boot? I think that's got to be his aim. But I think he can absolutely do that. Sometimes I wonder if he's a little bit too nice. I'd like to maybe see a bit more ruthlessness from him. But I think he's the best of the lot. I do.
Okay, stick him up.
Let's put him up there. Just as well, because if we'd have Rodrigo, we'd have gone Real Madrid.
Good point,
Real Madrid central.
Their recruitment's amazing.
9 goals, 10 assists in 26 appearances for Arsenal season, Saka incidentally. Right, 23 years of age. Again, this is
another Madrid player.
Competitive bracket. Yeah, you've got the likes of Vinicius Junior, Erling Haaland, Phil Foden, Tchouameni, Alphonso Davies. So this is a good competitive.
What you are seeing here is the
category.
Madrid recruitment from 20 up to they could have had 22, they could have had 23 is scary.
Will it be another Madrid player, or will we? I think we might see a City player.
Come on.
We have seen a City player.
This is a tap-in, isn't it?
Got to be Haaland, yeah?
It's got to be Erling Haaland. I mean, what can you say about him? He's a beast, absolute beast. I've been talking about this a couple of times on my channel recently about those cheat codes. Like, who's a cheat code that's going to get you a title? And they're waiting for Kevin De Bruyne to come back, but he is a cheat code as well. And the two of them together are pretty scary. His goals per game is a joke. I think since 2020 he's got a goal every 80 minutes or something. Was amazing at Dortmund, carried it on. At Man City. I think the problem he'll have when we're discussing him is a bit like Salah, is that he hit such heights that he gets to a point where there's nothing new to kind of say. There's no
those heights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, he's amazing, isn't he? 23 as well.
He's actually got 56 goals. He's got 52 goals last season, but 56 goals for club and country in that season, which is phenomenal. Do you think he should have won the Ballon d'Or, or was Messi the right call?
No, but I think literally any other year he does win it.
Do you agree with that, Haaland, for this pick?
Yeah.
Tap in for you?
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just a bit of respect on Vinny as well.
I was going to say,
who, has obviously got bad injury this season, but has decimated the Champions League at times.
Top player.
I think it won't even be a conversation when they're both finished, though.
Yeah.
Numbers and things like that. I think it sort of drowns.
24. Not as many options at 24, but one probable standout.
That's why we got him in it.
Well,
What do you mean? Let's not disrespect Declan Rice, who's been one of the best central midfielders in Europe.
Did you say that?
That's why I got him. I was scrabbling around for any other 24-year-old I could probably bring to this conversation, but it probably...
Rafael?
The ones that we look, me and Joe did a bit of research. Rafa Leao's there, Isak, De Ligt, but I think Rice is the standout, isn't he?
I think the fact that he's doing it in the Premier League as opposed to Serie A gives him more credit.
Yeah, I love Declan Rice. I think he's getting better as well. And I was thinking of
Never misses a game either, does he?
Never missed a game. Hasn't missed a game.
No.
He played so many games for West Ham. And remember those years as well. Those are Europa League years where they got far in those competitions. So every single time, always needed, always ready to step up. He's proven that this year on several occasions. And a better player than people kind of give him credit for because he can drive with the ball. There's been that stat going around about the progressive passes, which just means he's competent in that area. He can play as a 6, he can play as an 8. I think as time will tell that he's just an awesome player.
Yeah, 184 progressive passes, most in the Premier League this season.
I think something like he's not sexy enough. Maybe I don't know the name Declan. No offense to anyone called Declan, but if he's like Brazilian, people would go crazy for him.
Yeah.
To another level.
Yeah, I mean
that's where maybe a bit of disrespect there.
Let's get him on the board then.
Most tackles, interceptions, and passing options are for Arsenal in the Premier League this season.
Good luck with 25.
Season.
Competing with this guy.
Yeah, 25 I think is a tap-in, but as we'll give you context of players that you could pick. I think I know you've obviously got Mbappe, which I'm guessing you might pick, but Trent Alexander-Arnold, Victor Osimhen, Valverde, there's a few players, but I'm guessing you've gone with this man here,
Yeah, so I think obviously only recently it's 25, isn't it? Yeah.
25, yeah.
So I think Trent was a little bit unlucky there. I think Trent's second for me is probably more the sort of debate here. But yeah, Mbappe's a joke. I mean, the amount of goals that he scored. Excited to see him not playing in Ligue 1. Because I think...
If that happens, you never know, man. He might stay. I could see him signing a contract extension given the amount of money that's...
Do you think?
Yeah.
But there's a bit of a change for him this year. He's played a bit more centrally, so there's been a sort of 50-50 split in terms of the amount of games that he's played centrally or out wide, and his hold-up play has kind of gone up to another level, which is not something you think about when it comes to Kylian Mbappe. I think in terms of who are the best players in the world, he's in the top 3 quite easily, I would
Yeah, and he was third in the Ballon d'Or, wasn't he?
Second most goals this season of any player in Europe, I think.
Yeah, Harry Kane, just Harry Kane ahead of him in terms of all goals and all comps. Top player. I think we'd all agree with that choice, Joe.
Yeah, 26.
I'm not sure people are like this. I'm interested to know the other nominees.
You've got Bruno G, you've got Lautaro Martinez, Frankie de Jong, Barella.
I think Luis Diaz is 26 as well. That just names it.
I think
that's the outstanding candidate by some distance, given that a lot of people you talk to would say he's the best centre-back in world football. In fact, we interviewed Saliba, didn't we? And we said we got
Saliba to rank the best centre-backs, and he said currently Thiago Silva, Ruben Diaz and Virgil van Dijk, and he was singing Diaz's praises.
What do you think, Flav?
Yeah, no, 100%. He gets into any defence in world football.
Some people have sort of been wondering about him a little bit this season in comparison to last season. But last season, obviously the one, the treble, I think in terms of points per match, he had more than any other Man City player, which shows how important he is for them.
But does that go back to your old point that when a player has such an immense season, they then get judged on that? And it's what everyone's doing with Van Dijk post that season. He came second in the Ballon d'Or. They're saying, well, it wasn't as good as last season. He's still playing very well.
Yeah.
You're being judged on your own previous high standards.
True. And then maybe same thing with Van Dijk, where everyone is loving him even more now because they've kind of returned back to that. So, yeah, maybe there certainly is something. But, very, very consistent.
Your good friend Flav was nodding his head in agreement with that choice.
And that's all I need.
If you think Haaland and Diaz are kind of stand-up players.
Better than that.
Actually, if it's Spurs and you're choosing one, I think Diaz may even get the nod over Haaland for what we might need. So,
yeah, and it's got to be.
What an outrageous claim.
Wow, OK. 27, you want to chuck a Spurs name in. 27 names available to you here. Sane, Coman, Maddison. I know that you want to shout out for Spurs. You're desperate for Spurs player in there. Rodri is also here. Is it going to be back-to-back City? Yeah.
Yeah, I've gone with Rodri. Yeah. I think Rodri is the right answer. And I think, actually, when we're talking about Declan Rice as well, just one final thing on it. He's got a few years to sort of, when you're comparing those guys. But Rodri, I think, actually, a couple of years ago was good, but wasn't, utterly world-class. I think he now is utterly world-class. Yeah. Scores goals as well, which is...
Massive goals.
For a 6 to be doing that. He's just got such a brain on him, and I think he's going to be an amazing manager, actually, as well.
Yeah, he scores vital goals as well.
Massive goals.
Champions League final, so many big goals.
Also, we did the stat last week, didn't we, on the games that he doesn't play. Like, all of the 5 games that Man City have lost in all comps, he hasn't featured in, which is absolutely incredible, like, when he's not playing compared to when he is.
I think he's lost in,
will his reputation be greater than Roy Keane's when he comes to the end of his career?
Very possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
you
The only thing I think might go against him in that is sort of the narrative around like Keane being the sort of leader and the galvanizer behind that team, whereas Rodri is almost the understated or like orchestrator.
I think leaders are different now as well.
Yeah,
but he is the brain of that team.
A bit like Busquets, I think, where people just don't talk about him being the best defensive midfielder.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Time,
and also, when you
despite the
see
fact he probably
all the
is.
trophies Man United win, it's the photo of King because he was captain of that. Whereas obviously with Rodri, attention often goes to the likes of Haaland and other players.
He could play till he's 39 as well.
Yeah,
Something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Outrageous. So get him up then. 28 then, maybe a little bit more of a dearth here as well, although one probable standout really in Joshua Kimmich.
Yeah. He's I was trying to compare him to someone. I think he's got a bit more bite than Alonso, but in terms of sort of getting the ball, they're always looking for him at Bayern Munich. The amount of passes he plays, the amount of through balls he plays, the amount of key passes he provides as well. He's an awesome midfielder, and actually probably doesn't get spoken about enough.
I was just about to ask you if you think he's underrated, actually. 'Cause I know we all rate him, but in terms of like the other players you're talking about or on this list, do you think he's a bit underrated?
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he is. I think he's gone through a period of time where Germany have struggled a little bit, and Bayern Munich are maybe not sort of the first team that we talk about, even though they're always up there for being Champions League winners. And of course, he's won that. And he is the guy. He's the captain, leader, legend of Bayern Munich. He's just wonderful on the ball.
Agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt.
Do you want Flav to put these
There's a
up?
bit of talk about him leaving, isn't there? Like recently,
Really?
bubbling up, because obviously he's got a contract kind of running down a little bit.
Man City?
Well,
Put him in Rodri and never get the ball back, would you?
Liverpool were kind of being leaving a bit.
You see
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. Not really. I can't see him leaving Germany, but
No, I can't hear.
quite interesting.
29 years of age, once again. It looks like another Man City player is going to make his way onto the board.
Indeed.
Gone for?
Yep, I've gone for Bernardo Silva. Again, incredibly complete. Someone who, again, I think you sort of, I guess if you lined up, you think, is he actually going to hurt you? Jack Grealish speaking recently saying he's really slow, yet somehow he just seems to be everywhere all the time, can play anywhere as well. An amazing sort of brain for that Man City team. And if anyone has a bit of a free role at times, it's him to go and kind of fix and start things
So
as well.
tenacious though, isn't
So
it?
good.
It's
so
coming off the back of it was sort of mooted that you might be interested in leaving Manchester City, and then he's just still performed.
That seems to happen every summer with him.
Yeah,
as well. He kind of
he
wants
has
to go
been
to
linked a
Barcelona.
lot, doesn't
never,
he?
never happens. But yeah, so good, so complete, so perfect for that system. So many kilometres clocked up as well.
Yeah.
He runs
Yeah.
so
Do you know there's only a few players that Guardiola trusts to stay a part of his setup over 4 years.
Every game as well.
And he's there every time, along with Carl Walker.
Do you think by the time he leaves City, he will have surpassed David Silva's legacy?
But I was thinking about that. To lose someone as good as David Silva and then just to replace him with him, and he's just.
Who's the best Silva?
I don't know.
Who's the golden silver?
If you don't,
I would say right now I'd say David Silva just because I actually don't have an answer. I don't know why.
the longevity to it.
But there's
Treble doesn't tip it in his favour?
Yes, it does as well. Yeah.
if you're starting a season and you're building a squad, you're taking him over David Silva.
How important is he? Because there's a lot of Man City
everywhere.
players on here. Obviously, Haaland gets a lot of attention. Kevin De Bruyne, quite rightly so. How important do you think he is in this current Man City squad? Because he's been a big game player for them this season.
Yeah, because
for many years.
Do you know what it's about? Often it's about sort of the drop-off rate when you have injuries, which you inevitably have in any team. And so he's unbelievable on the right, or as a 10, or as an 8, or he's played as a defensive midfielder, or he's played as a left back. So it's his ability to fill in the gaps, which is why he probably doesn't have that same star power as David Silva, but why he's so important.
Yeah.
Let's get him up then.
Oh.
30.
Next one's a bit
Does
of a
this
tap
even
in,
need
isn't it?
debate? 30?
No, it's
I mean,
isn't it?
the other options here, maybe Edison. But Harry Kane,
Yeah.
just put him up.
Amazing, isn't he? Just put it up.
Well, unless anybody's got a better alternate. I mean, the alternates here are Edison.
Do you think he could win the Ballon d'Or this year if England win the Euros and Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich win the Champions League? Obviously, his numbers, he scored more than any other
But by
player.
the same conversation you're having about Jude Bellingham, you have to have about Kane if Bayern
Similar,
Munich
isn't
did
it?
it.
Yeah.
Of course. And I mean, it shows you the level of the Premier League when it is a drop down for Harry Kane because he's playing in such a better team. He has all the advantages to do what he's doing this year. I still feel so sad about it. But
We'll move on.
Go to 31.
Now, 31 is a good category. Again, I think I know you're going to pick, but you've got the likes of Salah, which I think you're going to pick. You've also got Alisson, Heung-min Son, Neymar, Ter Stegen. So there's a Bit of competition here, but I think I know who you are going to pick.
Yeah, I mean, the answer
Mo Salah?
Yeah, the answer is definitely Mohamed Salah. Again, one of those ones where the ceiling's so high, he's so consistent that. And I'm bad for this. Sometimes if there's a player that I didn't expect to do so well, when we're doing sort of end-of-year things or player of the season things, you start to forget about Mohamed Salah because, well, you expect him to score 30 goals every year. Always fit.
Yeah.
Always.
Goals
Touch
to
words,
game
I know
ratio.
fans be nervous.
Phenomenal.
So consistent for so many years. He's got to be top 3 Premier League players of all time. Wow. Doesn't he? You've got Shearer, you've got Henry.
He's in the conversation.
He's in the conversation.
Definitely.
Better tap in for the 31-year-old age bracket. Last one then.
Shout out for Son, but yeah.
Last one then. You've gone for KDB and Van Dijk with a battle here, I would suggest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got to go with KDB, who I guess is part of that conversation as well when we're talking about those Premier League greats. Could be forgotten about right now when we speak because of the injuries, but I think it was 31 assists last season in all comps. 31.
Yeah.
Every year.
Scary thought of him coming back, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, yeah, and I think that the title race will be decided on not just him coming back, but can he stay fit? Because if he comes back and he stays fit, I can't see Man City being stopped.
OK, stick him on then. There is confirmation of the best players at every age bracket in the world. Enjoyed that, Jimbo. Let us know what you think of that at home. They are the players, 18 to 32.